So the GOP, according to some reports, appears to be stepping up its ground game this time around. The Trump and Clinton campaigns both holding registration events, but Republicans are drawing more new voters than Democrats in some key states. In Florida, Democratic registration numbers are shrinking while Republican numbers are growing. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. We'll get into it a little bit. In North Carolina and Nevada, Democrats still have the advantage, but the GOP is closing that gap a little bit with registration. This could benefit Donald Trump, as well as the GOP effort to maintain control of the Senate. Sean Spicer is Communications Director and Chief Strategist for the RNC, and he joins us now. Good to have you here, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get started, this whole hacking issue, Mike McCall, we were just talking about this in the break, said that the RNC had been hacked. You say that is not true. That is not true.
We're not going to go into any further details, just to say that no networks on our RNC networks have been hacked. We're going to continue to take precautions to protect our data, and obviously this is a concern of national level.
But it used to be for everybody.
Right, it is.
Pull and bow on down.
We have not been hacked. That is not true.
All right. So we just wanted to get that point out there. Let's take a look at some of this. Now, you guys have been working hard to register voters, as are the Democrats. Right. Take a look at Florida, for example. You've closed the gap there. But is that going to be enough for you?
Oh, absolutely. When you look at this, the last election that Romney lost basically came down to about 100,000 voters in 6 states. What we did, as most people know, after the 2012 election was really commit ourselves to a permanent year-round ground operation and enhanced data. Those two things, we're not just starting 60, 90 days out. Chairman Rice previously has put the money and the personnel in for the last 4 years, and the proof is now paying off, or the work is now paying off. You talked about it in Florida, Nevada, Iowa, North Carolina. The numbers are shrinking. The beautiful thing about Republicans, as we register them, 72% of new registered Republicans vote, meaning so that when you can get them to vote, there's a high propensity that those new registered Republicans are going to get to the polls. That's an important distinction. It's not just getting them to register. It's obviously getting them to vote.
You would think if somebody's a new registrant that they're excited about voting, right?
Well, and again,
I mean, but I just want to mention one other thing that's sort of deeper in the weeds here. In this, it says Democrats are registering more new voters than Republicans in Florida. Nearly half of all first-time voters registered since 2013 are non-white. Many of them are Hispanic. Romney got 27% of the Hispanic vote, and Trump doesn't come near that number in the polls that we've seen.
So we've got to do two things. We've got to get our folks out. I'm sorry, we've got to do 3 things. Get our folks out. 2 is persuade folks, and then 3 is register new people, because, again, we have almost 3/4 of new Republican voters get out to vote. We're doing all 3 things on the ground. Just to give you an idea, last cycle we had about 590 field staff out in the battleground states. Now it's over 6,000. So if you think about it, we're 12 times larger. The commitment and the depth. The Clinton folks just got in the field, and you hear about them talking about opening offices. That's great. Offices don't vote. We've had 6,000 people now in the field, some of them as long as 40 years ago,
you
out there
very
registering. I am, because, again, the numbers speak for themselves. We know what we have to do. The data tells us where these people are. The investment that we've made in data lets us know who's persuadable, who's going to get out to vote, and who we can further get out to register and get out. And those 3 things get us, as we enter this early vote period, we know exactly what our targets are to make sure that on Election Day we're victorious.
We saw in the primaries that there were increased numbers of people showing up to vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
There was all this discussion that he was going to poison the down ballot. Now, I mean, let's take a look at a couple of these races. Let's look at New Hampshire. A lot of folks on the Republican side were concerned about Kelly Ayotte. She appears to be doing well 54 days away from the election. Nevada, Joe Heck, 46 to 43 right now in the polls. You don't hear so much about him poisoning the down ballot races anymore.
No.
Why is that?
In fact, because I think, number one, there's 2 reasons. One, he's doing a lot better. You saw the polls that have come out in the last 2 days, up to not just nationally, but now you're seeing it in the battleground states in Florida and Iowa, Nevada, even Maine, for goodness sake. We're tied in Maine. My home state of Rhode Island, we're down 2. That's a state that Barack Obama won by 20%. Donald Trump's energizing and exciting voters that we haven't seen from any candidate in decades. But the other thing is, people like Rob Portman, Marco Rubio, Pat Toomey, Ron Johnson are running unbelievably strong campaigns. The Democrats went into this election hoping that the top of the ticket would be a drag and that they would pick up the Senate. They only need 4 seats. Right now, those chances continue to diminish because the campaigns, especially on the Senate side, those down ballot guys are running unbelievably strong races. Mark Kirk, Ron Johnson, and you see the DSCC, the committee that the Democrats have committed to retaking the Senate, has already pulled out of Ohio and pulled out of Florida, recognizing already that 2 of those battleground states that represent Rob Portman's seat and Marco Rubio, they realize because of the work that they've done in the Senate and the campaigns that they run, they can't win.
I had Mike Flynn here the other day, General Mike Flynn, and he said, it's going to be a landslide. Do you think so?
I think that you're seeing an excitement that you don't see. When you look at the new people that are registering, the excitement that's out there, I think there's a potential for this to be a real game changer of an election.
We will see. 54 days to go. Sean, thank you.
You bet.
Good to have you here weighing in on all of that.